Patrick Freeman, Angry Black Man in Therapy. About to go live with one of DC's finest, Psalmayene 24. About to bring him on now, so just give me a second here.
Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, I'm blessed. Still.
I'll be cheesing every time I see your ass.
What's up?
I'll be cheesing every time I see your ass, man. Because I see growth. I see a bad dude that deserves all of the good things that's happening to him. You know?
Thank you. Evolve or die.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies, this is Kamilah Freeman broadcasting live from the radical side of Martin Luther King Avenue, the antebellum nation's capital, the foothill of Cedar Hill, the line of consecrated Deckers home. We're here with Salon 24, DC legend in his own right, in his own lifetime. We're here to talk about Salon. They are a mix of talk show and groove section where guests explore topical issues in a laid-back atmosphere, celebrate Black excellence, and promote local businesses and enjoy mental health drink breaks. All right. I do not have my normal Angry Black Man therapy concoction, but this is going to be a mental health drink break as I join with my brother. So welcome, brother. Welcome.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here with you talking. You know, it's been a while since I've seen you live and in the flesh.
Yeah, the world has changed, brother. The world has changed. And I hope you're as excited and as unafraid as I am. Because I always go back to Martin Luther King's next to his last speech. We all know about the last one, but very few people talk about his next to his last one, which was delivered right here in Washington, D.C., and it was called Remaining Awake During a Great Revolution. Right. And this is where we are. Remember when we came up with the poetry scenes, the open mics, we was hearing that revolution described in such, it was almost in everybody's work, on everybody's lips. But now it's really here. We don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yo, it's funny that you talk about that scene. I was thinking about a song I wrote called Real Revolution. And part of the lyrics were the only real revolution, spiritual revolution. When the hearts of the people change and the color of your skin is not a thing, the only real revolution is a personal revolution. Change yourself and you change the world, like turning sand grains into pretty pearls. And I still think that's the case. Self-transformation, that's the highest form before we can sort of go out and change things externally, man. But that was such a beautiful time and a beautiful era to be a part of. And so many great people were a part of that community. People like you and, Dub L and, Kokai, Opus Akabin, Raheem Devon and Ta-Nehisi Coates, Chad Bozeman, you know what I'm saying?
You don't realize all that is interconnected.
Yeah. So it was truly a beautiful time, and it does seem like that time sort of spoke to this moment right now.
I think that we were preparing ourselves. We was priming ourselves. We was priming our community. I think that we was discussing these issues so it become realer in our own minds. As we was growing into our maturity. And, some time ago, I ran into one of the, affiliates, I call them associates, because I don't use the word friend too loosely anymore. But one of the affiliates that from that time period, I ran into them, and they said to me, he said, "Are you still doing the art thing? You still doing that radio thing?" You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that. I was so insulted that I couldn't even respond correctly.
Right.
And people, only real artists understood the levity, the gravity of that statement. Because you basically saying, "Are you still doing that parent thing?"
That breathing thing.
Yeah, you know, like it was something that we was in a time period that we were supposed to grow out of. Yeah. And all those people that you just named, you've seen how they have grown into, you know. And I'm honored that you would even mention my name in the same breath as those important people that you just mentioned. So thank you as well. To have an institution and a brick and mortar space that stands in defiance and in support of alternative ideas and controlling our information and supporting artists like yourself is a blessing and a very honored responsibility. But tell us about Salons, and I'm so excited to learn more about it because you got a big guest that's also from that time period that's coming up.
Yeah, man. Well, Salon Studio was initially, man. This was an idea that I was cooking up with the team over there because, you know, we got it from the Doris Duke Foundation, and it was a building demand for the arts grant that Doris Duke gave to different institutions around the country, and the institutions partnered with artists to conceive of different ways to build demand for the arts, ways to build their community, build their audiences. So I said to myself, well, I still like to party, basically. And I said, well, what if we had like a conversation on stage, and then after the conversation, we would throw a party at Studio Theater. And that would be a way to bring people into the building and expose them to the community there, and just to have a good time. We have, a good DJ, fly DJ, and vibe out to some music. And then the pandemic hit, so we had to pivot quickly. So we decided to take it online and do it remote. So it turned into something else. And it's funny that we're doing it on Instagram because I was inspired by the whole Versus. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I said, how can we sort of capture the spirit of hip hop that they've captured so beautifully and sort of share that with the theater community?
Right.
Thought about how to do that, thought about having guests, and then shout outs to Nick Wonder, because he's the DJ on that program on the Salons. So music is a part of it.
Shout out to Nick, that's my man, that's my neighbor.
Absolutely. And then we shout out different Black-owned restaurants each episode. So also as a way to sort of, show love and give these, folks some business, basically. Yeah. Because always, like now especially, folks are like, how can we really help this Black Lives Matter movement? And I'm like, well, you can support Black businesses. That's how you get it.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because it breaks my heart when I see I'm at a Black Lives Matter rally or event, and I see nothing but McDonald's bags, or like y'all are feeding the beast. Stop feeding the beast. Who you give your money to is who you give your power to.
That's right.
And I think that's the moment that we're in. That's where the revolution is getting real. That we have to be deliberate in our actions. And I applaud you for creating this space and opportunity that encompasses all of that, so that this wasn't just about you and your work. You are incorporating all those around you in the community, because the theater is actually a reflection of life, and you are making sure it is on full exhibition.
100%, man. So we've had a bunch of really great guests on, mostly playwrights and, primarily Black creatives who have been working in theater in DC, but like around the country too, and the hip hop theater legends. So this.
Who did you enjoy the most talking to so far?
Oh man, that's tough, man, because y'all gotta excuse me, I'm about to drink water throughout this interview because I drink a lot of alcohol as an Anglo Black man in therapy. So
every chance to get the water in your system.
Oh yeah, you gotta hydrate. Well, I mean, this is not a cop out, but this is the truth. I've actually loved talking to all my guests, man, from James Iams, who's a playwright who's based in Philly, to Justin Weeks and J.J. Johnson and Jefferson Russell, Jen Valentina, Lady Dane Figueroa, legends of hip hop theater like Will Power and Danny Hawk and Jonesy D. But our guest who's coming up next week is the one and only Kamilah Forbes, who is the godmother of hip hop theater, and she just, did the Between the World and Me piece that
she did the damn thing. She did the damn thing.
The HBO, presentation of Between the World and Me, and before that, she did the Apollo, and she's actually the executive producer over at the Apollo Theater. So the amounts of things that she's done, man, has really been pretty amazing. So I'm pretty excited to sit down and talk to her.
And so when is that iconoclastic conversation going to occur?
That is scheduled. We are scheduled for next Thursday, the 17th.
And how do people tune in to watch that?
So they can go to studio Facebook page, right, and check them out on Facebook. They can also go on YouTube. So if you search Studio Theater Salon on YouTube, and I think those are the two places where they can check us out.
And you saying the date again?
December 17th.
And what time?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. December 17th. You need to be in the place to be. And follow this conversation with Kamilah Forbes, the great Kamilah Forbes, and the great Psalmayene 24. Psalm, what is the burning question that you have for Kamilah?
Oh, wow. One thing that I want to ask her about is sort of what she's learned from these other legends who she's worked with, because she's worked intimately with, from a Kenny Leon, who's a legendary director, to like a Stan Lathan, who is, for folks who maybe are, know about or sort of behind the scenes, like he's directed a bunch of Dave Chappelle, the stand-up.
And has been directed for decades, since we was children, and just got his first Emmy. Right.
So, I mean, he's a legend in the game. So, I mean, what I want to know, one thing is sort of just like what has she learned from those legends that she is now using as a new legend herself. So that's one thing, and just really just how has she navigated the entertainment industry now? Because now she's been working in theater. Now she's broken into television. She before the pandemic hit, she was slated to direct a piece on Broadway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's actually producing Ta-Nehisi's next book with Oprah and Brad Pitt's production company. So she's also on the productorial side as well. I mean, she's like big time, you know what I'm saying? So like, how has she navigated this terrain as a Black woman, as a, I'll say young, because we're still young, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
As a young, mature Black woman, who comes from the hip hop community too, because that's the thing, because she's also a hip
she used to spit.
She used to have a with another sister called Shy Garden. You know what I'm saying? So she used to rap too. Yeah, man. So, I just want to talk to her, man, and see how she's doing too. You know what I mean?
From Shy Garden to Apollo Theater, and not just the stage. And not just the stage. I'm so proud of her and so proud of you, and the honor to have you guys with that word I don't throw around loosely, consider you friends. What is it that you think that we should be doing now in this special time period, this great moment in history? What do you think we should be doing more of and less of?
Yeah. Get out into nature. I mean, that's one thing that the pandemic sort of forced me to do. And really, it was...
Is that one of those mental health drink breaks?
That's one of those mental health things, man. Getting connected to the earth and feeling your, connection to everything. Like, we are part of the earth. And sometimes I think, especially now, where we're a lot of times disconnected from people, what can we do to feel reconnected? You know what I'm saying? And I think going out in nature is just one thing that I've been doing that I think can benefit a lot of people, especially Black people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, out there and really feel our fullness, expand. But other than that, man, take this time to really reassess. Go inward and sort of just reflect on who you are and who you want to be. And I think those are sort of like the evergreen questions that we have.
Evergreen questions.
Yeah, man, we keep evolving. And I think just to take this time to really, pause. A lot of folks are talking about pressing pause, but also as you press pause, then you also have to press play. And when you press play, where are you going? What's the sound that's coming out? Some folks have described this moment as like a portal. A portal where it's like, because everything has sort of stopped, right? Now there are opportunities out there still. There are a lot of creative opportunities that are out in the world right now that I think we just have to see. You know what I'm saying? And this is the time where now we have a chance to really look at our reality in a different way and create things. Still create. I think that's important as well, because now this is an opportunity to really come out the box with some ideas that, folks haven't necessarily thought of before, man. So just keep it creative,
Yeah, man, you get me pumped up, man. I'm feeling amped. I'm gonna go step my game up over here. I've definitely have gotten a lot more reading done, which is always a good thing, always inspiring to do that. I just finished Dapper Dan's memoir. I think I read it in like 2 days. I read the whole book in 2 days, 2 nights. Knocked it out. I was like, damn, if I could knock down a book every 2 days, I'll be vicious. You know what I'm saying? So I'm challenging myself to start doing that more. Instead of reading casually, whenever I find some time, deliberately saying, I'm going to finish this book as soon as possible, And something you said, you're like going back out into nature. I realized just a few years ago, actually, that one of the things that people really enjoy about going to the beach and what have you isn't just the ocean or the water. It's one of those rare times that we take our shoes off and we actually doing that thing called grounding, where we put our feet directly on the earth.
100.
And I encourage people to find time to take their shoes off and ground themselves, because even hot wires, they have to be grounded. They have to be connected to the earth, and I think we need to get reconnected. And you had mentioned Raheem Devon's name earlier. I had the opportunity to go to Ghana with him, courtesy of my man Diallo. Mm-hmm. And while we was there, we was in the slave dungeons, not castles, dungeons. And this was my second time going there. Mm-hmm. And when I went there the first time, I regretted that I didn't take my shoes off before I went into that sacred space. Mm-hmm. So this time, I made sure I did that. I got to the dungeons, I took my shoes off. And I told Raheem, you should take your shoes off, man. You're going to feel something different. Mm-hmm. And he took his shoes off too. After we left, we had met with a chief of the area, and the chief said to us, that he wished it was mandatory that everyone remove their shoes before going into this space.
Word up.
And I did it, and Raheem did it without having to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we are right now. One, getting grounded, and two, don't wait to be told. Be in tune with your innate inner voice, whatever that thing is. I think we should be hearing it a little louder. But I think you've been one of the talented people who's always been grounded and listening to that inner voice. Is that the case, you believe, with yourself?
I get that. I feel like I came from a family that just kind of supported me in terms of whatever I wanted to do. There was just no obstacle. You know what I'm saying?
No obstacles.
Didn't place like limitations on me. It just supported, if I like it, then they love it. You know?
Let me paint a picture for those who don't know. I've known Psalmayene, the 90s, what is it, 98, 99? So we're talking over 20 years here. Yeah. And this young brother had rebelliously beautiful locks, right? The matted dreads. They don't give a like fuck your interview, fuck your can. That was Sam. And he had his own style. I don't never remember you rocking no Jordans or nothing. You never looked like you was trying to do anything but you.
Yeah.
And you did you at a very high level. And I've always admired the courage that you had then. Because you wasn't trying to fit in. You wasn't trying to present something aesthetically pleasing to the masses. You was relentlessly authentic to yourself. And I never had a chance to say to you that I admired you for the strength it must have took for you to have that, to do that. I'm a little Johnny come lately to the party on that level, but you had it then. So I salute you, sir, for that. But where did that confidence come from?
Brother, honestly, I feel like the alternative for me is death. If you can't be yourself, then who the hell can you be? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sad to me. Like, you hear stories about people who, if they're of one sexual kind of orientation and for years they've been in the closet, they might die and never be themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not to even put it in those terms, but like, that's just an example of somebody who's not to just be who they are. You know what I'm saying? It's really that simple. And I think that can apply to everybody, man. So I just felt like, I don't know, man. Plus my family's Jamaican, man. So we're stubborn anyway, you know?
Rude boy.
Yeah, man. So I have an uncle, right, a granduncle, who tells me that they took the most rebellious African, they took them to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have, like, a lot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the story I heard was that the triangle trade, the majority of slaves were dumped in the Caribbean, exchanged for rum and sugar or whatever, and the ones who were breakable, they went to America, and the ones that wasn't stayed there. You know. For those who just joining us, I'm talking to Psalmayene 24. He's the producer of songs Salons, as a mix of talk show and groove sessions where guests explore topical issues in a laid-back atmosphere that celebrate Black excellence. They promote local businesses and enjoy mental health drink breaks. And his next guest will be the incomparable Kamilah Forbes, December 17th at 5 p.m. And for those who do not know, Kamilah Forbes is most recently known for producing Between the World and Me, Ta-Nehisi's book, and brought it to life in living color. So make sure you put that on your calendar, save the date, December 17th at 5 p.m. And Sam right here is a Helen Hayes Award-winning playwright. And he has so many productions under his belt. I just wish I could get a little of his stardust sprinkled over here, because he has did the damn thing in his own right. You are, sir, on the big time. A Helen Hayes Award is big time. Has that opened doors for you, or what do you think was the moment that you had that aha says the door cracked open for you? What was that moment?
Yeah, I think after receiving that award, some doors were kind of open because more eyes were kind of like, oh, okay, well, who's this cat? Even if, like, in town, if folks had heard about me before, I mean, awards serve that sort of purpose in terms of just giving you more eyeballs are on you, and then, hopefully, the opportunities will sort of come from that. But to be honest with you, man, it's just been about that grind and that hustle and that determination, and still doing it, like you said, like that question that, hey, man, you still doing that thing? Hell yeah, I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? It's like the thing that folks say, well, if you stay in a barbershop long enough, then you're bound to get a haircut. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that whole, like, perseverance,
Staying in the shop.
Staying in the shop and working and, talking, and then you might pick up some clippers yourself and you might start cutting hair. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Stay
in the shop. You've given a new meaning to that. I'm on the road with it. I think Denzel Washington has said that a number of times.
Exactly.
Well, and I'm very proud of his decision to become I don't know what you want to call it, the caretaker of August Wilson's plays.
Yeah, I think that's caretaker of it. Yep.
Yeah, because by him making that commitment to bring all those things to life, so they're on film and at a high level, is going to carry his work to a larger audience. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What's the project, or what's the goal? What's that thing you chasing to get your work to a larger audience?
Yeah, I think right now, especially with the pandemic, now it's like we have to go digital. We have to, start looking at television and film. I mean, I love theater, and I always do theater, but I also want to reach as many people as possible. So this feels like the perfect time to start to explore those other mediums. So for me, man, that's where the trajectory is going, man. It's like, okay, we can't convene live, so let's make this TV thing happen. Let's make this film thing happen. Yeah.
And studio theater, I think, is rising to the occasion. They have a new list of audio plays that's available. So people that's listening, you can go to studiotheater.org and you can listen to a lot of the audio plays for free. If those are means, you can, if you care to, please make a donation to support their work. But you can go listen to some new plays. I just interviewed a writer today, Ike Holder. He has a piece, I think it is I Hate It Here Now. It was written during the pandemic, and it's about us dealing with the pandemic. And there's some levity in that production, I'm told. I'm going to check that out later tonight after this mental health drink break with Psalmayene 24. We got someone that's sharing the content. Digital distribution channels like the MET Opera did that to gain more audience pre-COVID. Thank you, Sonia. Have we met before, Sonia? Put a comment in there. But I admire your work. And thank you for sharing that. It's great that we get some feedback on this. Now, this is going to be aired on WEAC Radio as well, and we're going to take the video and we share it across the spectrum of our platforms on social media. December 17th, 5 p.m., don't miss it. Kamilah Forbes, Psalm's next installation of the Salons. Now, how many episodes have you done?
We've done, I think, six so far.
All right, so she's going to be lucky 7.
Yeah, man. Huh?
She's going to be lucky 7.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. So 7, and then we'll convene and then see what the future holds. In terms of like the future life. You know what I'm saying?
Now, can we talk? I know we just got just a few minutes left here, but can we talk about the craft, the way you said, stay in the shop? But what is it that's in your shop when you're getting work done? Because when I was talking to the great Walter Mosley, he says to me that you have to write every day, and I'm like, every day? He's like, yes, you got to write every day, And I'm like, I don't know if I have that in me to write every day, because what I'm thinking, I associate writing with an outpouring. And once I pour it out, I got to go replenish it from somewhere. I'm going to take something in. I'm having experience. So I didn't accept that when he said it to me. But now I'm looking back and said, if I just write a little note every day, if I can just document every shining moment, like you just said, stay in the shop, okay? This evergreen stories, okay? Those little notes. So I got a Samsung, because I'm doing Apple. I got a Samsung, Android, because when we was in Ghana, like I was telling you, I left my Android in the club, and I told the driver, and he said, is it an iPhone? I said, no, it's an Android. He said, don't worry about it. It'll be there when you get back. And it was. But I'm taking notes. What is your mechanism in terms of the work when you're in that shop? Do you write every day? Do you just read every day? What is it that you use to drive you to stay on that grind and get the work done?
Yeah, so if I'm in the midst of a project, of a script that I'm, writing, then I do write every day, you know what I'm saying, until that draft is done. But in between, man, it's definitely about reading, and maybe like you said, you might jot down some small notes. I might drop like eight bars of rhyme or something like that. If I hear some music and I hear a beat, then I may just, I'm like, oh, well, let me just write a quick verse or something, just to keep those juices flowing. But between like writing, reading, and then even like now, part of my practice is going out into nature, because then for me, you talk about like the replenishment. That is one way that I found like, I can actually, it's like, like the plug, you know what I'm saying? You plug, get that energy source, and then you go back to the shed or the shop or whatever. So I think it's ultimately about being intentional about your creative process, and then suiting it to yourself. Because like you said, with Walter Mosley, his thing is writing every single day. He's a novelist. So that's like, his whole thing is all about writing. I write, I direct, I act. So writing every single day for me doesn't necessarily, that's not going to necessarily work. But staying creative in some way every day is the thing that keeps me in the shop.
What is the different muscle from being that writer and that performer to directing? How was that pivot for you? Is there a different part of the brain? Is that left side, right side? Is that a combination? What different muscles did you develop in that transition?
Yeah, I think it's certainly connected. But then as a director, one thing that I leaned into more so than I did when I was an actor was a specific type of research. You know what I mean? Because as a...
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's a type of research.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, that's primarily finding books that are related to the subject matter that you're going to direct or to the project. Where as a performer, I did research as well, but then it's more in your body because that's your tool. As a director, you basically have to come up with the vision for the project. So you have to like have some sort of anchor and some sort of interpretation. So it's it's a little bit different, but then it's the same. I mean, you know, it's still me, and I do operate from like this integrated way of approaching art, which is very African, which is not disconnecting myself like in terms of like a writer, director, and actor, but thinking of it kind of in this more kind of like a holistic way. And then making sure that as much as possible, I'm filtering and perceiving art in life as much as possible because it's all art. You know what I'm saying? It's just how you see it.
How you see it. How you see it. Until the lions have their own historians, the tales of the hunt will continue to glorify the hunters. And we're here to tell the lion story. Psalmayene 24 has been telling the lion story for quite some time now, and we look forward to hearing more stories from him. We about run out of time here, but this is We Act Radio. We do shout outs. So if you got any shout outs for your work, and I really want to hear about who helped you, who inspired you to live your authentic life and to pursue your craft regardless of the outcome or the results. Because I believe that whether you had a Helen Hayes Award or not, whether doors are open for you or not, whether you had obstacles or not, you would still be doing what you're doing and telling the lion story. But who inspired and who helped you in that journey?
I mean, I have to go. It starts with home, man. So somebody like my grandfather, you know what I'm saying? Like it starts there, and seeing this man, you know, immigrate from Jamaica, and you know, he had to drop out of elementary school because he had to help his family, you know, make a living basically. And he came to the States and made it happen. Ended up buying up properties and things like that, and did very well for himself, and just showed me sort of the value of hard work. But then he also was a lover of beauty, and he was a photographer, and he loved the ladies. You know what I'm saying? So he was sort of a unique kind of guy who definitely had his own swag. So he was probably like my biggest influence in terms of just like do you and have like self-belief, you know what I'm saying? But then of course you have other artists out there, from Bob Marley to Basquiat to August Wilson, James Baldwin, you know what I'm saying? Those kind
I am not your Negro.
Word up. Yeah.
James Baldwin's in my window. That is in my storefront studio window here on the radical side of Martin King Avenue. So we share that one in common as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's a huge influence in terms of just that dedication to craft and to speaking the truth too. And you know, that's something that's constant. You know, you grow into it. You know what I'm saying? How do you speak your truth and then live your truth too? You know?
That's exactly, I think, is the accurate description of our trajectory in our lives. From that U Street Collective, we were talking and speaking our truths, and then we went on to live our truths. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the determining factor between those who were about it, and then those who was just going through a phase or going through a period, and they picked it up and put it down. I got to share this one story before we get out of here, because this was unbeknownst to me till about 2 years ago. When we talked about earlier about grounding and going out to the woods or going into the nature and spending time, George Washington Carver was a big proponent of that. He suggests that that's where he got his source of his strength and inspiration. In fact, he would talk to the plants and what have you. But I did not know was that George Washington Carver was castrated as a young boy.
Yeah.
so that he would be safe to live in a house with white girls his age, you know, under that same roof. And so he had a high-pitched voice as a result of that. And that, when I found that out, that gave me a determination to put more bass in my voice. And I wanted to make sure that I asserted myself and I spoke clearly and loudly when I'm doing my truth telling. You know what I'm saying? And that I realized that his dedication to his work came because he had no life. All he had was his work. That was the way he gave it all to. And I also want to try to give more of myself to my work and not, like I said earlier when reading, not in my spare time when I just feel inspired, to give yourself to that work in that shop. And you, sir, today has encouraged me to spend more time in the shop. Word out. And I will continue to put more bass in my voice when I'm speaking.
Word out. Word. Thank you.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Psalmayene 24, the salons is going down. So the next one is December the 17th at 5 p.m. So anything else you want to share with the people? Anything they need to know?
I think we said it all, man. Just peace and love.
So thank you for all that you do to tell the Lion story. Stay safe, stay strong, stay woke, and continued success on your terms, sir. And blessings to you and your family.
Thank you. Likewise, brother.
Salute, sir. Until the next time, in between time, don't miss Kamilah Forbes in the next installment, the number 7, the lucky 7. And he's going to be rocking it out. And I'm going to be tuning in, and I hope you do the same. And you can also go to studiotheater.org to listen to a whole litany of audio plays they have. They'll be running for the next couple of weeks. I hope you guys get a chance to enjoy that as well. And finally, lastly, stay woke, stay strong, and stay safe, and enjoy the remaining awake on a revolution period in history right now. That's where we are. I hope y'all as unafraid and as excited as I am. Do something. Peace, y'all.
Word up. Peace out.